Dana Stevens Show. Let's go. Check it. Don't forget about love, joy, peace. Let's talk about it with Dana. That's what the world needs. Let's put away the hatred, racism, and greed, and tune into your dial with Dana Stevens. Yo. From Chi-Town to Florida to A-Town, DMP got sick of our people falling down. PD gotta stop the violence in all towns. This is what we call awareness, time to spread around. We got a legendary activist going viral, and me, I'm quarterback and spitting these flows like spirals, like Colin Kaepernick kneeling to God in every show, and late night appealing to God for us to grow. These demonic politicians have really got to go. That's how it started, right here on radio. Don't forget about love, joy, peace. Let's talk about it with Dana.
Well, happy Wednesday afternoon to all of you out there in the great big world of social media. This is Brother Dana coming to you from, that's right, Chicago. Hey, shalom to all of my Hebrew brothers and sisters out there. Shalom, shalom. This video, off the cuff, I would entitle, straight from my heart. One of my desires is to always remain transparent, honest, and open. For number one, I'm accountable to the Most High Yah, but I'm also accountable to those of you who have subscribed to my YouTube channel, who listen to the things that I have to say. And this is a follow-up video about a video a few weeks ago that I put out there when I was excited about the new t-shirt and starting a fundraising campaign to raise the money when a district asked me to do a summer camp this summer, as well as this fall another school is asking me to do an after-school program. And several of you, have sacrificed and sent love towards One Love in donations and in purchasing one of the t-shirts. And for that I am grateful and I'm thankful. But I need to update you on what is happening. It was a Hebrew sister that had gotten to know me from YouTube, and I went to her Passover meal. And in us talking, I found out that she was, within the last few years, an employee at this district, and she was the one that then wanted One Love to come down and be offered to her students. And so we put the dates and stuff together, and I went down there and I sat for 2 days while kids were coming to summer school and parents were arriving and looking for things for their kids to do, and one of the options was One Love. And I can specifically remember one of the moms coming, and she recognized me and she said, "Mr. Stevens, aren't you the one that did that club after school several years ago?" And I said, "Yes." And she had tears in her eyes and she said, "I just want to thank you," because she said, "Your club penetrated the heart of my son. And then all of a sudden you disappeared." And I was so angry because she said every time something good comes our way that really cares about our kids and is empowering them and giving them some fun activities, they seem to disappear. But she says, "I'm so glad you're back." So she says, "I'm signing up my son as well as a couple nephews." And she gave me a hug. I gave her a hug and I said, "Thank you. I'm looking forward to it." Well, a few days later, I received a phone call from my Hebrew sister that had gotten an email that told her that she was to tell me that my summer program was immediately canceled because of several reasons. And those reasons were such that I lied several years ago when I was contracting with them, that I said on social media I was employed at this district. I gave a title that was inaccurate and false. I put a picture on Facebook that was inappropriate. And how could I, with that picture and lying, be somebody to mentor or even work with kids? And so she told me that I needed to give the money back and the program would be ended. Well, the story is this. Yes, 4 years ago when I was working for this district, and when I said working, I was then asked for that next fall to put together a proposal to do restorative work, which I did. Now, the year prior, I came in as a substitute, and within 2 weeks, a principal hired me full-time as a one-on-one. At that point, they moved me to another school within the district to help a teacher with a self-contained classroom, in which I did. That principal began to have me work with the kids that were having issues, and she started calling me and introducing me to her parents as a behavioral specialist, working with her kids and trying to bring down the fights and the negativity and the suspension rates and all that negative stuff that was going on with her students. So I sent the proposal and I got an email back that said, when would you like to start? And I told them the date. And so 4 years ago in September, I walked into the school and I got a classroom and I set it all up to do the work that they had asked me to do as a contractor. 4 days later, I was in the office with the assistant principal, who was my direct supervisor, and the phone rang. And on the other end was the school secretary that was given a message from the person that okayed my contract or my proposal, that I was to leave the school immediately because I had put inappropriate pictures on Facebook. I had lied about working as an employee, and that I had lied about my title. Well, the picture that was inappropriate was this. The person that orchestrated all of this was a white lady. But I was immediately terminated. But I wasn't going to stop there, because if I had done wrong, then I needed to absolutely apologize. So I went to the human resources, and yes, on my Facebook page it said I was employed by this district, which was the truth. I actually even was employed during the summer to help with their summer school. And so maybe I failed to update it within a month that I was no longer employed. But she said, hey, that happens, you're not lying. And then she said about the falsifying about my title. Well, after talking to the principal and myself, they realized that that's how she did introduce me. So they dropped that as well. I questioned them about the picture, and she said, well, the superintendent and all that looked at the picture and they didn't really see anything wrong with it. And so anyway, making this long story short, I decided that I was going to go to the EEOC. And during that process, I now have 306 pages of the report. It came out that all of these accusations were found to be false. And the only reason why they terminated the contract was because they had no money to pay me. Well, 4 years ago, I then had the right to sue them to pay me out of that implied contract, because I had the email with when do you want to start. But I decided not to. So now we're moving up to this summer. And those individuals that fired me and that were in that mess, I was told a couple years later, were terminated. But there was one person that is still around. And when she saw my name come across her desk, she decided to email the new superintendent all of those accusations that were set against me 4 years ago. Well, when the superintendent got this email, instead of questioning me or bringing me in, he took it as truth and immediately emailed all the board members, as well as a principal and an assistant principal, stating this: I am immediately to cancel my program I am immediately ordered to refund program participants their fees, and I am immediately to leave and not come back. Also in this email, they said that I had already started this program without permission and that I had done this without the appropriate background checks. Well, I did do the background check, and I hadn't started the program yet because it wasn't going to start for another couple of weeks. So I talked to my Hebrew sister what to do, because one thing that I have always tried to do is make my name honoring the Most High Yah, and to be truthful and transparent, and to acknowledge when I have done wrong. And I was advised to take this matter in front of the board, and I wanted to do it in a private meeting so that this dirt of these false accusations that were all determined false in this report from 4 years ago could be brought to the light. And so I have to tell you how good the Most High Yah works. So in the beginning stages of this meeting a little over a week ago, the motto of this school district was spoken. And in their motto was these words: "We are not here to create a mess, but to fix a mess." So with that, when it was time for me to stand up and ask for a meeting, I gave my name, and then I said, "I'm here because, as your motto states, you are not to create a mess, but to fix a mess. And there's a mess that has taken place that I'm here to find an answer in fixing it." So nearly 2 hours later, when they finally called me in, and what they were doing, I don't know, I introduced myself again and asked them how they wanted to proceed, and their attitudes were like, "Well, what are you doing here anyways, Mr. Stevens?" And in the next half hour or so, you would have thought that I was found raping or molesting their children. And the main thing they were angry about was that this individual showed me the email. But my response was, if the email is based on truth, why are you angry that I saw the email? Would you think that if my program was canceled, that I would not want to know the reason why? I have labored for 25 years to make a name, not only for me as an individual, but also for my agency, for my ministry, for my calling of One Love. And to stand back and let somebody slander me as somebody that lies and displays inappropriate pictures. So I'm bringing this update to you, that if you are an individual that bought a t-shirt specifically to support my summer program, please contact me and I will reimburse you your money. However, even though I am not doing the summer camp, if you choose to allow One Love to keep your donation, it will be used this fall for our after-school program. Currently, I am seeking wisdom from the Most High Yah as to whether or not to sue them, and that was their main questions to me was, are you going to sue us now? So what are you going to do? Sue us now? And when I failed to give them an answer, their last words were, "Mr. Stevens, we are done with you. You may leave." I bring this all up because the underlining of all of this is that the system that is in this country is so rooted in hate against the chosen people, the Most High Yah, that any of us that desires to speak the truth, to build up our young men and women to understand that they are kings and queens, that they are the chosen people and not cursed, that the promise of the Most High to bring blessings into their lives and to promote them and to build them up and to place them back in their rightful position, that promise is right around the corner. Several years ago, I was coming back from South Africa. And as I was coming back, the Lord at the time, the Most High Yah as I know him now, spoke this specifically to me and said, "My son, you will understand Lazarus." And the part that he spoke to me is, people will bury you because they don't know who I am. But they'll bury you. And they're going to bury you with death clothing that's going to come in the form of lies and slander against your very work, against your name and against your reputation. Well, there was 2 churches in southern Minnesota as I began to speak out boldly about who we are as whites and what we have done to our black brothers and sisters in this country, canceled their supporting me immediately and put false accusations that spread to various churches. That even when I went to clean that up, the Lord told me to not say a word. Because he reminded me, like Lazarus, they will bury you and they will put on death clothing, which is words that are not true. But then the Most High Yah reminded me of Yeshua HaMashiach when he called Lazarus up out of that grave. And he says, at one point, my son, I will call you up out of that grave. And all those people that put their death clothing on you in forms of slander and lies, he said they will do just as I instructed the children to do with Lazarus. Remove those death clothing, for I didn't put those death clothes on Lazarus. You did, because you failed to recognize who I am. I am the Son of the living God. I have the power to raise the dead, to heal the blind. And if you knew who I was, you would let my servant lie there. But yet for his good and for God, Yah's glory, I let Lazarus die, and I let you put him in the grave. But he told me that at one point he would redeem my name, and he would call me forth. But he said, the most important thing about this, my son, is that you will know my name, and you will listen and follow me, regardless of where I ask you to go, and regardless of the people that want to put their mouth against you. So, is this the beginning of my redemption? That was 10 years ago. And for 8 of those years, my life had been almost jobless. He also told me, coming back from Africa, that I would understand Peter, walking on water, that I would have to trust Yeshua HaMashiach every step of the way in my journey, because it would be him and him alone that would sustain and maintain me. So I wanted to share this, that again, I recognize the depth of racism and systematic prejudice that is formed against the chosen people of the Most High Yah. And if you're listening to this video and you do not know who they are what we've used bywords, our black brothers and sisters. We've called them African Americans, we've called them colored, and we've called them all kinds of other names. But their true identity is that they are the chosen people of the Most High Yah. So sometimes when you see me absent, it's not because I'm home having a pity party, but I'm home wrestling in the fight. Not that I'm wrestling to give up, but wrestling with the Most High Yah and knowing what he wants me to do next. But in this all, this is why I say that those who inspire me and who motivate me and who keep me encouraged to keep on keeping on are my black brothers and sisters, the true chosen people. How dare I give up in this race when your entire life and the life of your forefathers and your families and your great-grandparents and great-great-great-grandparents for 400 years have endured slavery and oppression? It's never gone away. It's only changed in the way that it desires to kill you, to oppress you, to control you, and to enslave you. But I want to be honest, so if anybody has questions about how is the summer camp going, that you will know from me that it was canceled. There's a part of me that desires to find a lawyer, not to win necessarily a settlement so that I can be wealthy. But the word of the Most High Yah says that the wealth of the wicked is laid up for the righteous. Is this one of the avenues that the Most High Yah would bring wealth so that that wealth can be used to run these summer camp programs and after school programs without any worry of financial need? Is this a way to publicly fight for the kids in this district that are being devalued because somebody calls me a racist, because a group of people don't want to see children raised up and empowered to become what the Most High Yah has called them to be? So yes, my heart does get heavy. The load and the cross that we carry is heavy. But if Yeshua HaMashiach could carry that cross and at the end nailed to a tree and yet say, Yah, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. May I humble myself and operate in the spirit of humility in the same way that my Savior, Yeshua HaMashiach, operated. So please, if you bought a t-shirt to donate and you, as I said, were excited about this going to a summer program, but now that you know this program was canceled and you desire your money back, I will return that to you. But if you are okay for us to use that money this fall in this coming up school year for the after school programs, I say thank you. But all in all, again, I end with saying thank you for being the inspiration in my role models, to not give up when life is rough and tough, but to know who the adversary is, but to also recognize that the promise of the Most High Yah for those of us who are willing to serve Him and serve His people and recognize who His chosen people are and to be a blessing unto them will be grafted in, embraced in, and will receive the blessings of the Most High Yah, which to me is when He looks at me now, or when I look at Him face to face, and He says, well done, my good and faithful servant. Well done. And with that, I would like to close and say shalom to you until we meet.